Um, Another thing that I'm able to do here that I built is uploading a file. Canvas apps don't naturally have a file upload control. You have to create a form that has a file upload on it and then basically hijack that. So that was a hurdle I had to jump over here. We can upload a file. I'm not going to because I realized that it sends a email every time I do it. So when I was testing, I felt really bad because I didn't realize that he had an email sending to him every time I uploaded one. So make sure you know what's going on flow-wise before you start building things. Um, but we can upload one document at a time here. Can just select one and then also have the type of document. And then when it is uploaded, it will appear here on our grid. Because this seems to be an issue that we run into quite frequently with CRM, the stakeholder not liking the dynamics, the SharePoint interface, or it just not cutting it for them. I have some clients who just have a weird vendetta against SharePoint and I don't understand it. So what I decided to do is also implement the Canvas app inside of our demo environment. So inside of the demo environment, I also ran into some different problems, mainly being the structure that we have set up here in JT Demo. So the way that our SharePoint integration works for JT Demo is it all rolls up to the account, and we have a hierarchy. That means we can have inside of our account, we can have the related contacts folder, and then the contacts that have document locations will show up here. And then we can go into that contacts folder, and then these would be the documents that are on the specific contact. We can see that mirrored here in our CRM environment for demo. We've got our file grid here. You can go into contact. Actually, I don't know if this is going to happen for us, but theoretically, we'd have the contact folder and then inside of it, our related contacts. So that was something that I had not dealt with for Kimball. We were only dealing with a single entity. So jumping through these different paths proved to be a challenge. The way that I had to implement it would be to, on each click here, kind of build the folder path as we go. So we would set account and then the account folder location. And then if I was to go into contact, we would also build that into the folder path and then select the specific contact. And from there, have their actual location documents show up. That proved to be a challenge, but building as you go, as you click, that folder path seemed to be helpful. Another thing that I did here that I was not able to do with Kimball was multiple document attachments. So if we wanted, some of these are just blank documents, so bear with me. We could upload multiple documents here. And then they should show up. It'll refresh once they're done. So it should come up right here. This is one of the documents I just put in. It was last modified just now by John Galt, who is my user. And then on top of this, another difficulty I found was our OneNote integration. So if we look on an account, each account will have its own OneNote file if it's been integrated with OneNote. And the way that SharePoint brings these over in the API is they're technically labeled as a folder for their document type. So I had to distinguish what's a folder, what's a OneNote notebook, and then if you click on it, where should it take you? Because this one should take you to another screen in our Canvas app, and this one should take us to the actual OneNote. So that proved to be a bit of a challenge. What I ended up doing is connecting to the OneNote data connection here, and then querying this OneNote connection to see if there is a OneNote document with this same name on this document location. And if there is, we click it and it will take us to the OneNote. If it's not the OneNote, it'll just take us to the next folder. So that is another thing that proved to be a challenge here. But overall, I have really enjoyed building this. Something that I think would be awesome for, this is something that I think would be awesome for our clients who don't like SharePoint or just want a better way to manage their documents in CRM. Any questions?
Freaking awesome.
Colby's my best cheerleader.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this. There's a big market for this, so good work.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
all.
And I think there's a lot of things that you could do, like push this even further, where you could embed this on the actual form where someone goes to click documents for the normal.
Totally.
And then instead of navigating away, it just opens up just their documents, but it's just this gallery right here, which would be sweet.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
You mentioned how like JT demos is different than our customers. Like, is that common that people switch that up, the defaults? And I don't do enough SharePoint integrations to know, like, what is the standard? Is it one per table, or like, you know, the defaults, or do people always customize it?
As far as the hierarchy goes, I'm not super sure how often it is used, but I do know that it's a pretty common feature to show off in a demo environment, because you could say, like, if I want to see all the contact data here, all the documents, we can click into it. I don't know about the actual usability of it though, and how often that happens.
I'd probably say if I were a betting person, is probably 60+% of our SharePoint integrations are end up being pretty custom so that the hierarchy matches what they're already using. Just kind of thinking of like, Woodside, Mercado, those are all pretty custom, and not very many people bite on just the out of the box SharePoint integration unless they're really coming from like absolutely nothing so they can conform. And I mean, there are a couple gotchas with it, but maybe that's another discussion, because I can kind of include, and it really kind of just comes down to is do they want to interact with the documents from CRM, or do they ever interact with the documents from SharePoint? And if the answer is ever, oddly enough, if they interact with those locations and documents from SharePoint, then the out of the box integration generally doesn't work for them. So that's my 2 cents. That help, Postma, a little bit?
Thank you.